Kiela Smith-Upton, pleasure to be here. You are with?
Artists design the future.
Are you going to be designing the future or something, or what?
We are. We do.
Well, tell me a little bit about what your organization is all about.
So we are a forming worker cooperative.
What does that mean?
In the state of Illinois.
Uh-huh.
So in the state of Illinois, there was a law passed that a worker cooperative is actually an entity, just like a S corp, LLC, or other entities. And the requirement is that you have 3 co-founders, and its intention is that it's a democratic run organization or entity. You can choose your IRS designation.
Right.
That is run totally democratic, where it's one vote for each founder and then the subsequent members as well, so that there's total self-determination in how we're run, how we function. Period.
Now, what about things like employees and all that sort of stuff? Are they considered? What's that word that we always? There's a word that's used that they have stationed in the organization as well.
So that's what's beautiful about a worker cooperative.
Yeah.
Is you can have employees, but technically, because the structure is so different, everyone is a member owner of that cooperative.
I am so glad, because when you spoke about the founders, I kind of thought about, I was thinking hierarchical.
Right.
And and I didn't, I guess everybody that's a part of it will be, well, you have the founders and the people who come in as members as well.
Correct. There is the opportunity where you can have a couple levels of membership, where you could have kind of less active members and ones that are more actively engaged. It gives us the opportunity to really self-determine how we choose to create the structure of the organization. But the bottom line is that it's democratic in the sense that all the members each get a vote for decision making for the organization and how it functions and how it's run, unlike a traditional corporate structure.
Right.
Yeah, that's so hierarchical.
And the thing about it is, we talk about corporate structures being hierarchical. I actually believe that every form of business should be run in that sort of form. And I mean, right now we can call folks employees, but they're nothing more than what I call antiseptic slaves, because they tell you what to do, they tell you everything. What you're telling me is this is done democratically. Corporations are not a democracy. Corporation has
far from it.
They're master relationship type organizations, which is one of the things that I work on as sort of promoting that people should be self-determined. So
Absolutely.
I love that what you're doing now. What's the end goal of the organization? What are you doing? Are you just trying to teach people how to do these things, or what's your end goal?
So there's 3 main focus, and our goal is to create sustainable resources for creatives in particular, which then always have a ripple effect out into the communities that we live in.
Right.
So our main 3 goals, one is training, and this is all artist-led, which is the power of it as well.
Right.
Community engagement, that's artist-led, and using the arts and creative experiences. And the third, which is our big, big, hairy, audacious goal, is to develop mixed-use art spaces. And what does that mean?
Yeah.
That means a mixed use, meaning there's commercial and residential. So our goal for the first building is to have 30 units, commercial on the first floor, 24 work-live units up above, but all owned also as a real estate cooperative.
Right.
So all the creatives that are in these spaces are members of that real estate cooperative, which is in and of itself a small business.
Right.
And each individual unit is owned, quote unquote, by a member of that cooperative. So the other self-determining awesome part of that is, we know a lot of creatives don't have traditional ways they make money.
Right.
So since there's not this need to fit in the box of traditional lending where everyone has to go get a mortgage, there's one mortgage for the whole building and all the members collectively own it and pay a portion, but they still have all the benefits of home ownership and the write-offs and all those tax benefits. But the other ethic or value that's really key for us as well is inclusion and accessibility. So a minimum of 1/3 of all the units will be for members that have disabilities.
Nice. Yeah.
as well. And then in the end, what you have is a community arts and culture hub that has this ripple effect out into the community,
Right.
but that also is able to help 30 small businesses by creatives
Right.
to grow and
Now-
and be sustainable for the long term.
I love that.
And the last thing I would just say is what it does also is it gives them that self-determination to not be affected by gentrification, because ownership is
You
key.
own it, yes.
Key. You make the decisions.
Right.
You're not beholden to, there's rises in the rents, or there's, you're at the mercy of a government subsidy that's going to run off, and then
Right.
you can't afford to live there anymore.
I love that. Now, let me ask you something. Are these units specific to artists, or are we saying that this is just a model right now for artists, but later on you could actually have other folks in the cooperative? Let's say I'm a software developer and wanted to do that. I could say that a software developer is an artiste, but I mean, is this restricted to just?
That's a fabulous question. And
Yeah.
we really extend the idea of artists to include creatives as well, which
Right.
is a definition that moves outside of the elitist concept of the arts.
drawing
Like you
or-
have
yeah.
to be able to do that. I mean, it could be a DJ, it could
Right.
be a social worker, and
Right.
people who are creating in the world.
That's what I'm asking.
And then the idea also is the 24 work-live units up
Right.
above, which are be intergenerational.
Right.
We want to have elders, families, youth.
Right.
So there is a true sense of community. But the commercial units don't have to exclusively be the arts.
Right.
They could be. We're working along with the local Chamber of Commerce to see what kinds of monies are being taken out of the community
Right.
that for needs that aren't being met
Right.
for the people in the community we live in,
Right.
so that we'll be open to businesses
Right.
on the commercial level to meet the needs of what the community says they need.
Now, here's the most difficult question within on your framework. How do you handle conflict resolutions?
That's a great question. And honestly, I wish I had the other two current co-founders
Right.
here. And I just wanted to qualify that comment earlier about co-founders. It's just because it's the three of us who
That
found
started
it.
it. No, I got
but
it.
It'll, yeah.
No, I understood
Okay.
it. Mhm.
Okay. So our one co-founder, Laura Weathered, that is like part of her genius and strength in
Right.
facilitating
Right.
that. And she's continuing to train herself. But all three of us bring a strong leadership experience and continuing education to have skills to help facilitate that. But the great part about cooperative is it's not up to us. I
Right.
mean, it is initially because we're the
Right,
three.
right.
But as it grows and then as the building is, that's for the cooperative to self-determine.
Right.
How are we going to handle conflict resolution and
Right.
planning for that in advance?
That's what I meant,
Before the
yes.
conflicts present
Right.
themselves, because they're going to come. That's
Absolutely.
just the nature. I mean, you got 30 people or entities in a community.
Right.
You're gonna have
Conflicts.
conflict. But the bottom line is that because it's such a democratic setup, because it is literally one vote per member,
Right.
you get to decide
Right.
what is that structure? What are the qualifications that
Right.
we are going to decide are what we require for someone to qualify to live here?
To live there,
and I
right.
don't have to talk to a bank
Right.
or an underwriter to
Right.
make that decision. We're
Right.
totally self-determining.
And you determine what you want.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I love that. Well, as usual, you heard what I asked the other person, so you should be prepared.
Okay, I
What
did.
question should I have asked you that I didn't? You should be prepared now.
How much is the building going to cost?
Oh, wow. How much is a building going to cost?
At our current projections on
Yeah.
the pro forma at $250 per square foot,
Right.
it's round about $12.5 million. And what that means is we need help to connect with a variety of catalytic capital, philanthropic capital, impact investors, donations, and other sorts of monies that can help reduce that final ownership cost so that the eventual member owners, they could be at a 60% area median income.
Right.
They could be at a 40% area
Right.
median income because the final mortgage is not $12.5 million.
Right.
We're projecting it at around $3.2 million. And to get all that other
Funding,
$9 million
yeah.
through these other resources and other
Now,
types of
now,
funding.
how is that intended? Let's say if you wanted to replicate that over and over and over again, what's the path?
See, you said that was the final question, but I know
Well,
this just
well,
triggers
you,
more
no,
questions,
you opened
right? I
you
know.
opened the
I
door.
opened that door.
Yeah.
That is a fabulous question
Mm-hmm.
because part of our intention also is to document this process
Mm-hmm.
so that it's available for other communities. We're from the Chicago area on the
Right.
south side, but for other communities in Chicago, nationally, I mean, regionally, nationally,
Right.
even internationally, because communities like this get created, but nobody leaves the breadcrumbs. Nobody says,
Right.
okay, this is how we started. These are some key things you need to build the momentum to create this. And it's like you're always reinventing the wheel. So we want to have a toolkit at the end that is available to people. I mean, it won't be like color in the dots.
No, but I mean,
a step by step, like
a framework.
This is a framework.
A framework,
So you
yeah.
can start strong and know and not have to just figure it all out through trial and error. Yeah.
Miss Smith-Upton, and you notice I didn't rush to the first name, and you know why. Thank you so kindly
Thank
for
you.
having
It's
been
been a
on
pleasure.
Politics Done Right.
Thank you.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel, and number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.